So I've got the low control arm out, coilover out. Low control arm bushing is completely shot. I mean, ball joint is completely shot. Bushings are okay, but I don't feel like changing those, so just gonna leave those. Luckily, I had some ball joints here, so just gonna go ahead and press those in and stick that arm right back in, and then to get to assembling all this back together using the low control arm, ISR traction, ISR camber, Part Shop Max rear knuckle, and I'm gonna get rid of this factory e-brake cable. Don't need it since I'm gonna be running a hydro with the dual caliper setup. So didn't get to pulling the disc brakes or the rotors off of the Z32, so I don't think I'm gonna do that today. Actually, I think I'm just gonna press this in. What I ended up doing was removing the seat and getting the coilover out from in there. So still got this side to do, but it doesn't take too long, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get these set of some springs on these BCs. Those parts, head over to the press right now. I'm pressing a new ball joint right now. So there you go. Old ball joint out, new one in. Just gonna get the snap ring on there. And as I'm saying, I'm not gonna change these bushings. I'm just gonna, they don't seem terrible, so I'm just gonna leave them. And go ahead and put this back in and probably call it a night for tonight. So that's it. Low control arm is on. Haven't tightened it down yet, but it's on. New ball joint. Did a quick tool cleanup. My little auxiliary box here, and yeah, I think I'm just gonna call it a night for tonight. It's kind of quiet and dead in here, no one else is here, and just kind of feel like taking a rest. So gonna go do that, go home, maybe cook up some chicken for dinner, start the fitness, do some push-ups, some sit-ups, you know, and then get back to this tomorrow, and we'll just start back up right from here.
6.5 hours later.
Ladies and gentlemen, day 2 of rear suspension on this car, and just a quick little update here. I was kind of on the fence on whether or not I wanted to go out and to the yard and take the calipers and rotors off the 300ZX, and Florida has actually determined that for me. It is pissing down rains. Well, I mean, it was. It's kind of died up a little right now. It's in mud, which is now quicksand. So no rotors and calipers off of that car, so just gonna get back to where we were on this, and it's pretty basic stuff here. Should be just assembly. Any keynotes I'll stop and show, but nothing fantastic or amazingly awesome about the way I put that together. However, we did discuss JamJam_fit here, lifestyle change. And I said I would take the camera and measure me on the scale. However, I forgot the camera, so I did jump on the scale this morning. I am a whopping 225 pounds.
Oh, damn.
Which is maybe not the heaviest I've ever been in my life. I have been definitely a lot thinner. I spent most of my high school, which was a long time ago. Everybody could say that. And early 20s and my mid to... I was like 145 to 160. Did a lot of running, did a lot of working out, started to get a little bit bigger. Due to some health reasons at the beginning and end of last year, I dropped quite a bit of weight. Got under 200 pounds. Got a lot of that fixed up, but kind of packed the pounds back on. So now I am going to try and drop some of this and get more in shape. So yep. The starting weight, 224 pounds, 224.5, 225 something. It was right around that area. I'm gonna start that. Started off with a good breakfast today. Didn't go for a morning jog. Rain, but that shouldn't be an excuse. I could have got wet, but did some push-ups and some sit-ups. We'll see how much that's gonna hurt. Gonna do some pretty good amount of stretching tonight. So maybe I'll get into some yoga. Maybe we can JamJam_yoga. That's not gonna be a pretty sight. Oof. But yeah, I'm noticing that just feeling the pain from working on this thing last night, not a good sign. So yeah, start assembling this back up. I still got to disassemble the other side. I got to put springs on the BCs. I got some Swifts in the trunk. And one thing I did want to point out that I do, which I get made fun of a lot here at the shop, is I'm gonna disassemble all of these joints here, every single one of them. And I highly suggest everybody else does this too. And I lather that stuff with anti-seize, and everybody here at the shop just gives me crap about it because they just think I overdo it. But I really like when I go to adjust these arms in the future that they come apart and they're easily adjusted, which can all, like, everybody's got to know, like, it's happened to everybody who's had an adjustable arm. Like, they don't touch it for a while, they drive on the roads, they try to go readjust it because they do bigger tires, they want to change the alignment, whatever it is, and they can't get that nut loose for adjustment. And all of that can be prevented with some anti-seize. And I don't understand why people don't use it. I put it on everything that has a thread, but served me well. So I'm gonna go get these hands all glittered up and start that process now. Actually, just go ahead and anti-seize those all up, and then I'll start assembling them up. So the arms are all slathered up right now with the good old silver juice, but honestly that took about 15 minutes to unthread them all and throw them all back in, so it does take a little bit of time. But now I gotta just get them on and get the knuckle on, and I think that's all I'm gonna do. And then I gotta dismantle the other side. I'm gonna start with lengths that are very similar to the ones that we pulled off. So I'm gonna measure this camber arm. Since I'm not changing the length of the lower control arm, I'm gonna measure this camber arm, put that on. You know, kind of the toe is gonna be a little bit different because I have that dynamic toe, but traction rod I'm gonna make it a little bit longer. I'm just gonna kind of make the arms somewhat at the same length so that when it goes on, it's not a massive amount of adjusting when it's time to align it. I don't know how many of you guys do that, like when you take off this, if your car had a good alignment, make the arm the same length before you put it on, so you're just not there just willy-nilly flying it all around everywhere. But one thing I also do is I get rid of the eccentrics. So the eccentric lockout kits are always a must for me, especially since everything's adjustable. There's no point having the eccentric lockouts. They're more likely to slip and throw your car out of alignment than they are, you know, just get the minor adjustments. That's what they're for. But you're not gonna get it, or there's no need to have it when you have minor adjustments on the arm also. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those, and they're gonna be on just the toe arm going into the chassis and the camber arm, so they're gonna just be locked out. So we have a set of ISR ones here, so gonna use those. I think I'm also gonna change the studs to some extended studs on the hub, or I might not. I don't know. See if I have any on the shelf, and then we should have a ton of them. But see if I feel like doing that, and then I start slapping it all back together. So as you can see here, got the knuckle on, all the arms on. They're all just like slightly adjusted. Traction arm, camber arm, and that dynamic toe arm from Part Shop Max with their knuckle. I did go ahead and change the wheel studs, and I kind of want to explain that to you. My energy, or my attitude towards it, when I was talking about it earlier about whether or not I want to change the wheel studs, I don't want people to think it's because of laziness, in the sense of like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that because I'm feeling lazy. It's because if you go back, or if you guys have been watching since the beginning, the idea of this car was to not go above and beyond, and that's one of the things, is like, it didn't really need wheel studs. So am I spending too much time And that's what the fight is in my head is, oh, you didn't need it, but you did it, and I got to take some compromises somewhere. So was that one I was willing to take the compromise? Because in my head, it's, you're here, you might as well do it. But you can kind of take that pretty far. It's like, yeah, you can do it to anything. Well, this close to being the subframe out, might as well pull the subframe and do subframe bushings. Or, well, while that's out, the diff's out. While the diff's out, I might as well just change the bearings in there. And while that's out, I might as well drop the gas tank and clean it. And I might as well change all the fuel lines throughout the whole car. Like, you can kind of take that so far, and that's what rushes through my head. And so it's like, I had to just stop at the wheel studs. I decided to do the wheel studs. They were here. The other ones were looking pretty bad, and you know, in order to do that, I would have to take the whole hub out again. So I had the wheel studs. It was a matter of minutes, but it wasn't because of laziness. It was the fight in my head of what am I gonna do and how am I gonna keep taking that. So I just wanted to point that out. Like throughout this entire build, if I stop and be like, man, should I really do this? It's not because of an energy or a laziness thing. It's mainly because I could just keep going and going and going. And the whole point of this car was to just leave it alone, Jams. Drive the damn thing. So, and I didn't even do that. You know, I've already changed everything in the front. I'm about to change everything in the back. So, yeah, I'm already pushing it. I'm probably going to end up painting it because it's ugly. But then it's like, this is a big part of me right now. Should I pull the engine out so I can paint the engine bay? Because the engine bay is real ugly. So yeah, that's that constant battle in my head. So let's just go back over this little corner here. So this is not done. Obviously you can see there's no coilover in there. I have not fully assembled the coilover yet. I forgot to do that again. I gotta put some springs on it, assemble that, get it in there. I'm by myself, so I gotta kind of like jack it up and get the studs into the chassis up there, and then jump inside of the car and get the nuts on it. So let me go ahead and start working on assembling that coilover now. So it's in. The BC, the ER is in there. And all the arms are on. Obviously I have to wait for the rotor. Can't put the calipers on without the rotor, so also these were Kevin's old kind of like race car coilovers, so they had the really long compression canister over there, so because they normally run them out, you know, Kevin doesn't have any of this pretty much, and then they just run them out to the bash bar area that they have out there, so it's easier to adjust and not have to come in and take the wheel off to change. But I don't have any of that, so I'm gonna have to find somewhere to mount that. And also Kevin doesn't have an exhaust. This kind of ends right after the axle and dumps down, so I've got the exhaust there also, so I'll have to figure out something, keep it away from the heat. Maybe I'll just drill a hole in the floorboard, or I could just maybe coil them up and mount them in here somewhere. I'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know where I put it, but for now it is done. I'm just gonna knock up the same thing on the other side and call it a day, and when the rotors and calipers come in, we'll go over the whole dual caliper setup and the U-brake setup, and we'll leave that for another day. Thank you guys for watching.